Thank you very much, Senator Cruz, and congratulations to the nominees, their families, and friends who've gathered here today. We have 3 district court nominees before the committee. I want to apologize in advance that I have a meeting with the leadership at 10:30, so I have to step out. I hope I can return and personally ask my questions at that time. I want to raise an issue that doesn't relate exclusively to these nominees, but basically all the members of the judiciary. The job of a district court judge is not an easy task. The dockets are busy. The questions of law are complicated. But more recently, and especially this year, the work has become even more difficult as jurists across the country face increasing personal attacks and even threats of violence. The uptick in threats is not random. The attacks against individual judges by this administration and their passionate followers have been recorded. In March, the president demanded the impeachment of a federal judge simply for ruling against the administration. The president called the judge, quote, a radical left lunatic, a troublemaker and agitator. The president added, quote, this judge, like many of the crooked judges I am forced to appear before, should be impeached, end of quote. The president is not the only member of this administration to use this kind of inflammatory language. Earlier this month, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, a former personal lawyer of the president, told the Federalist Society the administration is engaged in, quote, a war against, quote, rogue activist judges. When the Deputy Attorney General refers to litigation involving the government as a war, you can understand how the president's supporters might consider threats and violence as a natural next step. Just last month, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, referred to a district judge court's order blocking the Trump administration's deployment of the National Guard as, quote, legal insurrection. Mr. Miller claimed that the so-called left-wing terrorism is, quote, shielded by far-left Democratic judges, prosecutors, and attorneys general. The president who was nominated, his record should be explained. Taking this criticism from the White House is hard to imagine, but this was a judge that was actually chosen by President Trump in his first term. MAGA loyalists in Congress have eagerly piled on. So far this year, Republican congressmen have filed impeachment resolutions against at least 8 district court judges for high crimes and misdemeanors, and the crime they're accused of, disagreeing with the president. In response to this unprecedented attack on the judiciary, Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare statement, and I quote, for more than 2 centuries, it has been established that impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning judicial decisions. The normal appellate review process was made for that purpose. As a result of the surge in threats, many judges now require additional security, including my judges in my home state of Illinois. The administration's unlawful immigration raids in Chicago have led to numerous lawsuits, controversial decisions. This litigation, in turn, has led to a rise in threats against several judges who actually handle these cases. As I've said many times before and will repeat each time given an opportunity, violence or threats of violence, whether from the right or the left of the political spectrum, are never, ever acceptable. I'd like to quote from a recent statement by the Chicago chapter of the Federal Bar Association, a nonpartisan organization. The statement reads, quote, expressions of public sentiment, whether criticism or praise, are not threats to judicial independence. Recent threats of violence directed at Chicago federal judges for simply doing their job, however, are unacceptable and have no place in our discourse. I couldn't agree more. More than 6 months ago, I asked the Justice Department for a briefing on the Marshal Service efforts to protect our judges. I'm still waiting for that to take place. It should be a priority of this committee. The threats and challenges our federal judges face grow worse every day. Let's do something about it on the Judiciary Committee. I yield, Mr. Chairman.